So chord analysis in music is actually pretty easy. There's only 7 different types of Roman numerals you have to worry about, and they all just line up within the scale. So there's not that much to it, besides this. So this weird chord appears in probably the most popular song to ever exist, Beethoven's 5th Symphony, right here specifically. But why is it, like that? Well, this is an augmented 6th chord. First things first, don't confuse this with an augmented chord. Augmented chords have major third intervals between each of the notes and are completely different than augmented 6th chords. The defining characteristic of an augmented 6th chord is specifically the augmented 6th interval. But why does it exist? Think of it as a predominant. Predominant chords like to go to dominant chords, and look what's happening right here. The upper note of our augmented 6th, that is the F sharp, is a half step away from the root of our dominant chord, which in this case is G. So F sharp goes to G, kind of like a leading tone. What? Likewise, the lower note of our augmented 6th, being A flat, is also a half step away from G. Just like a leading tone, but it's just, opposite. As the great Sun Tzu always put it, 2 leading tones is doubly better than 1 leading tone. You might be saying right now, but Max, we can't have the chord with just 2 notes in it. If you're saying this right now, you're a nerd. But yeah, you'd be right. We need at least 3 notes for something to be a true chord, and not just an interval or like a power chord. So that leads to the obvious question, what notes do we use? Well, that's where we introduce the Italian, the French, and the German augmented 6ths. The one used in Beethoven's 5th is specifically the Italian augmented 6th. This is the only augmented 6th with just 3 notes. It has your typical notes, the sharp 4 and flat 6, but now we're including the 1, or the root of the chord. So, in the key of C, that's an F sharp, A flat, and C. When we go to the 5 chord, the sharp 4 will always go to the 5. Similarly, our flat 6 will always go to the 5 as well. This just leaves us with scale degree 1, which typically goes to 2 or 7, and most cases it goes both ways. So in our example, the G chord is the dominant chord. That means our augmented 6th is going to be F sharp, that goes to G, A flat, which also goes to G, and C, which will go to D and B. Simply delectable. Waiter, what is this?
Celion.
So, French augmented 6ths are weirder, just like the actual French. There are 4 notes this time, being sharp 4, flat 6, 1, and now 2. In this case, the music writes itself. Just hold the D note over to the dominant chord, and let the C fall to a B. Finally, we have reached the German augmented 6th. This is probably the least popular one, and you're about to see why, but it's still pretty cool. Now, instead of a 2, like the French augmented 6th, it will now be a flat 3. That makes our chord A flat, F sharp, C, and E flat. You might be thinking this will be easy, right? Just do the same thing like we've done in the French, except this time the E flat will go to the D. It makes perfect sense, right? Wrong, you imbecile! You've just created perfect 5th movement! We absolutely do not want perfect 5th movement, and that's something you have to be really careful about, especially with the German augmented 6th, because it is super easy to make perfect 5th movement. So, to get out of this little pickle here, all we gotta do is extend that dominant chord into a cadential 6/4 chord. Now, a cadential 6/4 chord is I might make a video about that later. For now, just think of it like a 1-5-1 chord progression, except scale degree 5 remains in the bass until it resolves at the end of the progression. Anyway, next time you see one of those symbols in your music analysis, don't freak out. It's perfectly normal. Well, it's not really normal, but you get the picture. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bonjour, oui, oui.
Baguette, oui, oui.